Rip that door.
Huh. What are you doing here?
Getting you out. Here, put this on. You'll need it.
You could get into a lot of trouble for doing this.
Not anymore. Things have changed. It's your father. He needs you.
My father? But he's gone, Anya. He's dead.
No, he's out there. He needs you.
Anya, wait. What the hell's going on? Anya. Wait.
The Locust have broken through to his house and called in to say goodbye. Says he's sorry. He says...
Marcus, what in God's name are you doing here? You're going to get yourselves killed, both of you.
Come on, Dad. I've come to get you out of here.
I've got to save my research. Do you understand how important it is?
Welcome everybody, Josh here, back again today with a brand new and special product review. Today we're talking about this, which is Gears of War 3 on the Xbox Series S as well as Xbox Series X. Now, as you guys know, I'm a massive fan of the Gears of War franchise. I've been basically playing these games with my brother since the very beginning when they originally came out in the early 2000s. This game takes place a couple years after the events of the second game of the franchise, and you see Marcus Phoenix. You think that he's basically in prison again for reasons unknown, and then, as per usual, Dominic Santiago, played by Carlos Ferro, busts him out of his confinement, and you realize that Marcus Phoenix not only is not in confinement, but he's in the military orders. And so Marcus Phoenix and his squad pretty much gear up and get ready for a fight that they are in a last-ditch effort to save humanity for. And everybody knows from the previous games that the humanity in the Gears of War universe, especially on the planet Sera, at a crossroads, or the last-ditch efforts for humanity's survival. And this game in the franchise really does take that whole narrative to an entire conclusion with this new threat of the Lambent. And the Lambent are these creatures that got created from the emulsion that you saw being created in the second game of the franchise, and it turns these characters into mutant creatures, and they explode once you come into contact with them, especially if you open fire on them in the game. And that was one of the new and interesting elements of this game, along with a lot of other unique and cool abilities that you can get in this game. The ability to vault over objects like in the very first and second game is back. The ability to take cover and hit enemies from behind and take cover like the standard issue Gears of War games is still there. Everything you know about the original couple of Gears of War games is still here and improved upon in a lot of different ways, including the movement mechanics in this game compared to that the last game are even better. This game has a lot of really unique and interesting weapons like the Retro Lancer. You also get this thing called the Digger, which you basically fire a round into the ground and it kind of goes towards the enemy and kills them. There's a lot of really cool and interesting new unique weapons like that. There's even a power loader similar to that of the Aliens franchise that shows up towards the end of the game in this. And you also get this big hulking mech suit they power and actually use the Gatling guns on the sides to shoot down enemies. It's really, really cool stuff. And while I do love this game a lot, this game really pissed me off towards the end when they actually killed Dominic Santiago, played by Carlos Ferro. When I was a kid, I pretty much got towards that part of the game and I didn't realize while playing it that I was pretty much close to being done with the game playing with my brother. But I was so mad and frustrated with the fact that I've grown to love and care about not only Marcus Phoenix, who's played by John DiMaggio, who's a really great voice actor and talent in his own right, but I also liked Carlos Ferro's character of Dominic Santiago because he's a more human character compared to that of even Marcus. And while Marcus is a really unique character in his own right and really does carry the story in a lot of aspects, I think the bond between Marcus Phoenix as well as Carlos Ferro's Dominic Santiago is really powerful in terms of the game's story, and killing him off, while it does represent what he's been fighting for all along, which is Maria and trying to get to her, which the first game was about Marcus trying to reunite with his father, the second game was about Dominic trying to reunite with his long lost wife and girlfriend and someone who he cares about really deeply, to realizing that she's been taken from him, to eventually this game where he's sacrificing himself for the team. And that's one of the things that really got me in the end was, while I didn't really like that moment in the beginning of the game when I originally played it with my brother, replaying it again had more respect for what Dominic did for his team in terms of the context of this story. And the story is more brutal and violent than ever. I think that the Gears of War games are really violent in their nature, with the ability to chainsaw enemies and to take enemies as meat shields and use them as cover, so that way the bullets are hitting you, they hit the enemy first before they hit you. The ability to assassinate enemies in this game now is here. And a lot of the games in terms of third-person action games like Uncharted and Assassin's Creed, even games like Halo and other first-person shooter narratives that copy the Gears of War style in their games as well. So everything in these these first 3 games have really revolutionized the gaming industry in a lot of ways, and a lot of the movement and cover-based mechanics have carried over into the other games in the franchise, such as Gears of War Judgment as well as Gears of War 4. There's a lot of really cool new multiplayer modes and features which I really didn't test out that much in terms of this review. I did play them back in the day, such as the Horde mode, and the Horde mode is a really cool mode where you go in with a group of friends or even just you and your friend and play 2-player co-op, and then you are basically fighting down the Locust Horde, which this time it's the Lambent, and the Lambent is a really frustrating enemy. I really didn't like it as much as the normal Locust Horde. I think that this enemy type, while it's really cool to fight some monsters that you do face in this game, the monsters in this are massive and kaiju-like, similar to that of the first couple of games in the franchise. They can be frustrating, especially with some of the other bigger boss fights at the end, but the fact that they explode is something that adds a little bit more of a devastating effect to it, but it is kind of annoying. The tower defense missions that you do end up fighting in this game, while they are unique to Gears of War, I think that they don't really fit the narrative that well, and I think that the narrative itself doesn't really need these tower defense missions when it's a linear story, but the ability to go in a semi-open world area and fight Locust Horde with your buddies or even just yourself through the single player campaign is really cool, and I like the fact that this is like Seven Samurai of video games, where it's everybody's last ditch effort to save humanity at all costs. Pretty much a lot of people die in this game, and a lot of people you don't think are going to make it end up making it. A lot of people you think that are going to make it are actually ending up dead in terms of the context of the story, like Dominic Santiago, who you think is going to make it and ends up getting killed. There's a lot of really cool, interesting new locations, including that of being on top of a massive bridge and you're being assaulted by the Locust Horde. There's also a couple different missions where you play as Cole and you get to see a little bit more of his backstory. One of the new additions to this game that I really did like is the addition of Claudia Black and some of these other actors that were pretty much brought into the Gears of War universe, with Michael B. Jordan as well, before I knew who he was as an actor. And it was really cool to see Claudia Black in this game because I'm a massive fan of her work in Stargate and Pitch Black and some of the other movies that she's been in since then, as well as video games like Uncharted. And every time that she's in a video game like Keith David, she makes that game a lot better, especially the film franchise that she's been in the past. And I think that all those elements combined into one, especially the musical score, the voice acting talent that's behind games, the game development itself, which is made by Cliffy B and Epic Games, really did a good job of pretty much putting a fitting conclusion to the overarching narrative of Gears of War in this game. And I don't think that there's any other way they could have done it. Fit every loose end that was covered in the first 2 games and sewed them up in terms of the 3rd game of the franchise. So while I do have a love-hate relationship with this game and how I didn't really like it at first, I really did grow to love this game over time. It's easily become one of my all-time favorite Gears of War games in the franchise. So I think that Gears of War 3 as a Gears of War fan is definitely worth playing, especially if you played the other 2. I really did like Gears of War 1 and Gears of War 2 a little bit more than Gears of War 3 and Gears of War Judgment, but that'll be a different video for another time just because I haven't covered Gears of War Judgment on this channel. So as you guys know, like I said before, I think that the graphics in these games are amazing. I think that they still hold up even without a remaster. I would really like a remaster of Gears of War 2 as well as Gears of War 3 in the future. They did to Gears of War Ultimate Edition, but I kind of understand why they haven't really updated these games with modern day graphics, just because of the fact that this does take a lot of time and energy to remaster all these games and remake it for a newer generation that hasn't really played these games yet. But due to the fact that you have backwards compatibility, you can go back and play split screen co-op with a friend or even just by yourself. I think that these games are definitely worth re-experiencing again. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of Gears of War 3 in terms of the context of its story. Did you like it more than Gears of War 1? Did you like it more than Gears of War 2? Did you like Gears of War 1 or 2 better? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of the Gears of War franchise as a whole. And as always guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Gotcha, bitch! I kick your dead ass!
It'll be at full power soon.
Professor, you said you tested this. How?
On myself, Damon. I had to see how the emulsion developed over its life cycle. So I injected myself with it to accelerate things.
Oh my god.
Dad, we saw what it did to humans in Mercy.
It started.
Let's go, Dad. This tower's too unstable now.
I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm not going to make it.
It's okay. I'll carry you.
Marcus, the emulsion developed faster in me because I forced it to. I had to find out how it reproduced.
What are you talking about? No! You are not going to die!
It's too late, Marcus. Every cell in my body's breaking down. And this is going to happen to every contaminated cell on Sarah. It has to.
No, goddammit, I can't lose you again!
I'm glad I was able to see you again, Marcus. Now go and live for me.
God!
Dad, no. He's gone. He's gone! He's gone.
Hubris.
Hold your fire.
So pious and moral, even now.
Is that what you think?
Your father always thought he had all the answers, but he had none. Nothing but clever ways to kill. The Hammer of Dawn, Jacinta, and now this. And his arrogance finally killed him.
Feel that? That's from Dom. And everyone else you killed, you bitch.